This is a Brooks saddle here that I am fixing. It has a tensioning bolt that has broken, and that was making a lot of noise, a lot of clicking sounds when I was writing. I had no idea what was making the sound, but I finally figured it out. So now what I have instead in there is a 5/16 inch stainless steel bolt, and I have a nut, and you can see that when I tighten that nut downward, it will create tension in the seat as it was originally intended to do. However, you can also see that the nut is not flat against anything, and that's because I need a special kind of washer called a bevel washer. If you go out onto the internet trying to find a bevel washer, you can find them, but you can't really buy them unless you want to buy them in bulk, or unless you want to get a small number like 1 to 5 and pay like $20 for shipping. And I did try to contact a local distributor, and they did say to me in email, we can't do anything less than 100. So you can't find bevel washers at Ace either, and I looked everywhere basically. I tried, like the usual Home Depot and Lowe's. I didn't find them there. And I thought of various ways of doing it. And so what this video is about is what I came up with in terms of how to build a bevel washer from regular washers. So for this 5/16 inch bolt, I bought 2 stainless 3/8 inch washers, just because it's kind of hard to install the bolt, the tensioning bolt, into the Brooks saddle. And then I bought a 1/8 inch set screw to act as sort of a pillar. The washers, they have like kind of a rounded side, and then they have a flat side. So I made sure to sand the flat side of both washers. I'm not showing all the steps, but the first thing I did was to super glue the set screw to the bottom washer. And meanwhile, I have like a piece of tape where the washers touch each other that's kind of acting like a hinge. So I had lifted the top washer up, and now I just drop a bead of glue on the top of the set screw, and then let the top washer drop down onto the set screw by way of the hinge. And then it's just a matter of getting it lined up laterally. And so that's what you're seeing there. Here's a better view of the tape that's being used as a hinge where the two washers touch each other. And needless to say, the sanded side of the washers is toward the inside of the bevel washer. There's also some tape here holding the two washers against the set screw. I took that off later, but in this picture it's shown. I found a 5/16 dowel lying around, and I wrapped it with some duct tape, just enough so that I could sort of push the beveled washer onto the dowel and have it sit in place. And that way I'm going to be able to fill it without it getting stuck to anything. And then I took the dowel and I just put it into a 2x4 that already had a hole drilled in it. And so that'll be the stand for the next phase, the filling phase. This photo shows what I'm going to use to fill it in the background. It's this JB Weld, incredible, really strong epoxy that should bind these two washers together and make it into a fairly solid, hopefully super solid bevel washer. To fill the beveled washer, I had to mix the glue. Obviously, it's like equal part hardener and black glue part. And then I used a really small flathead screwdriver to bring the glue up to the washers and kind of start pushing it into the cavity. But then I wanted to make sure I didn't have any air gaps, so I also used a needle, it was a really fine sewing needle, and I just kind of ran it like crosswise in toward the dowel, so not sticking the dowel, but just crosswise in to try to help the glue fill in all the gaps as I was pushing it in with the screwdriver. And then at the end, I got probably like 8 Q-tips, and I had to swab off the top and the bottom of the washers. And so this is sort of how it looked at the end of all that. Okay, this shows the beveled washer installed. You can see I was able to tighten the tensioning nut, which is just to the right of the beveled washer. I was able to tighten that quite a bit, and so you can see probably, a 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch of thread to the right of the tensioning nut. Actually, to the right of that, you can see the other nut that I used that is sort of coupled with the bolt itself, and that's what makes it so that when you tighten the tensioning nut, that's what makes it push the seat to the right